Rapid fire go through the top 35 questions on the last video. How to post your cover songs legally. Why are some covers flagged? How much can you change it? Statutory damages, which can be $150,000. Producers out there who know that this is trendy and they just do it anyway. You know, this is why it's fun, lawyering. What's up, guys? I'm a music attorney, and the last video we released on this channel is how to post your cover songs legally on YouTube in 2025. And on that video, at least as of now, there's over 500 comments and questions. So what I want to do today is with our live community that's on right now. I go live every single Wednesday at 5 p.m. PST. If you have questions, pop in and we can have a conversation. But what I want to do is to rapid fire go through the top 35 questions that I saw over and over on the last video, and I'll also kind of summarize, right, what we discussed in that video to help you to stay legally protected so you can do great cover songs, which is a fantastic marketing tool. If you are excited, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. When we get to the end of the video, if you do need additional help, you can go to topmusicattorney.com. I have free courses. I have a full-length music business course. And of course, you can be directed to get in touch with an actual attorney. All right, so I categorize these by sections. So the first section is in regards to arrangements and terminology. So here's the thing. One of the comments that we saw a whole lot, and I should have thought about this. I was speaking in lawyer. This is what happens when you're speaking in lawyer, and I used the word arrangement. Now, what I said for context is that when you are doing a cover song, okay, a cover song is not sampling. Sampling is where you take something from someone else's recorded song that already exists without their permission or with permission, right? You take something from that song. So it might be an audio of their vocal, it might be a guitar loop. That's sampling. Sampling is not a cover song. What we do know is that cover songs are okay and you are protected and you are able to do so pursuant to copyright law. And I'm speaking within the United States copyright law, okay? So we said sampling, different than cover songs. Now, what we talked about is we go, well, generally speaking, a cover song can be your version. And so what we want to talk about is how much can you change it? Can you go in and put it in a different genre? Yes. Can you go in and instead of the guitar as the lead, right? Can you put a piano? Yes. Now, what I said in the last video is I go, you have to be very, very careful with changing the arrangement. Now, us lawyers, we work on this so much, including at my law firm, and we always speak to each other kind of like that. And we go, the arrangement of the intro, the verse, the pre-chorus, the chorus, right? We don't want to switch things around. So now it's like chorus, verse, and now there's like a new chorus with new lyrics. And if you're changing the order of the song and you're making substantial changes, it no longer is likely considered a cover song. So what I should have said is don't change the structure. So what you guys let me know, and I should have thought this because you production and creatives out there, the arrangement, of course, might be interpreted as like, well, the arrangement of the drums and the guitar and the piano. So totally fair. I'm so sorry if I caused confusion on that. So to be clear, I'm talking about the structure. You want to make sure that, like, really what we're talking about is that the US Copyright Act specifies that it's okay to do cover songs, but you have to be careful that you are not changing the essence of the song. So with that in mind, the first question is there a difference between the structure and the arrangement in the way that I was saying it? No. So I apologize about any confusion on that. So, you know, again, for clarity, you want to make sure that you don't change the structure of the song in how it was made from the verse, the pre-chorus, the chorus, second verse. You see what I'm saying? All right, second question. What about creating alternate arrangements? If we went from, well, what I do. So I take songs typically from like different genres and I will adapt them to then be a dark pop song, right? So I kind of make it sound a little bit in the minor key, a little bit darker. And so generally it is okay to have alternate arrangements, right, in the instrumentation, right, and to change the drums and the tones and things like that. So that should be okay. Number 3, are the terms like rendition and cover, are these interchangeable? So for copyright purposes, both terms generally refer to like reproducing the original. So if you're someone right now and you're like, all right, Crystal, I'm interested in doing a cover song and like tell me, why should I do a cover song? One of the biggest reasons is because it's just great promotion and it's a way to kind of be a gap filler, as I call it. I'm an independent artist myself and I do cover songs. And so between my original songs, which I spend way too much time on, I overproduce them, yeah, everything has to be so perfect. I will release cover songs because it's a way to get someone to potentially listen to you and become a fan of you a lot easier. Because if you're like, oh my gosh, I did a song, you love Taylor Swift, and I did a Taylor Swift cover and I made it a rock metal kind of Taylor Swift thing. Not only did you potentially do a song that the person liked, but then you were very creative in your expression of your cover. Okay. So your rendition, your cover, generally interchangeable terms. 4, when does a cover become a derivative work? When we say a derivative work, we go, well, if something is made based on something that already exists, technically, right? It is a derivative of that original song. We talk about as what is a cover song not? We talk about interpolation, right? So the example that I used in the last video is I said, well, we know that the Khalees Milkshake song was interpolated onto one of Beyonce's records, okay? And so she took inspiration, right, from melodies. It might be something like lyrical inspiration. So you adapt something that is from someone else's song, but you're changing it. You're changing it and you're making it something brand new. So that would be interpolation, but it's also what this word is. It's a derivative work. So basically, pursuant to the Copyright Act, you can do your own cover song and there is permission to do so. And then you guys just learned about a new word called derivative, and it's a derivative work. 5, does changing chords or structure affect whether something is a cover? So if you were to adapt a song that has major chords and you make it into minor, which I love doing, okay, is that okay to do? Again, this goes to just the essence of the song, and I would argue that it's absolutely fine. And really what we look at is we go, well, if you are adapting a song and you are modifying it so substantially, it's how far away from the original is your cover. In my professional opinion on what I personally do, changing to a minor key is fine for cover songs. Now, here's the thing, for anyone watching this right now, I'm sure you guys have cover songs that you listen to. Drop a comment down below. What is your favorite cover song and who performs the cover song? All right, number 6, does creating an instrumental version such as piano count as a cover? The answer is yes. If you're keeping the same melody, the same structure, not the same arrangement, you're keeping the same structure and it's just, faithful to the original, you're good to go. 7, what about trimming or rearranging different parts of the song for time, right? So we have at least one client in recent history who cut down one of their songs from, let's say, 5 minutes and it went down to 3 minutes. And it was just because, it was adapted to a new genre and there was just changes. But that meant that significant portions of the song were taken out in our analysis. And that's what this is. It's an analysis based on all these different factors. Based on our analysis, we go, you know what? It really affected the integrity of the original. This probably does not qualify as a cover song anymore. Number 8, how does tuning up or down affect covers? So changing the tuning generally doesn't change the classification of the song as a cover. Again, is the melody and the structure of the song still the same? If so, I would opine that it is in fact still a cover song. Number 9, are acoustic versions still covers? Yes, acoustic renditions are still covers. Again, same lyrics, same structure, same melody. All right, so let's talk about live performances. Here's the thing. I was on the phone with BMI for an hour and 15 minutes before recording this live stream because I really wanted this answer, which goes to some of these questions. Now I believe I have the answer, so I'm going to do my best to deliver it because they did not pick up. I was told by their little automated lady, they're like, you are in line and we will be, able to get to you in 10 minutes. Hour and 15 minutes later, they did not get to me. Number 10, do live cover performances require licenses? You guys have such great questions. So you do your cover song, and we talked about it's okay to do your cover song and to put it on music streaming platforms. The mechanical license that is required under the Copyright Act is obtained by the DSPs, which is the digital service providers, meaning Spotify, Amazon, right? So the music platforms pursuant to the Copyright Act, now they're the ones who have to go get the copyright clearance, which is, AKA the mechanical license. Then we go, all right, well, if that's the case for putting it on music platforms, what about when I perform my song live? And the answer is that live venues like bars, restaurants, they're required to have blanket licenses in place with the performance rights organizations. So we have the PROs, BMI, ASCAP, CSAC, those are the ones in the United States, right? So in the UK, PRS. In any case, they go and they get these blanket licenses. And what you need to make sure you do is that when you perform in a venue, you need to go, let's say if you're with BMI, I'm with BMI. You go to BMI and you input, you're like, hey, I performed at, what do I want to say, like Jiffy Lube's restaurant. That's not a restaurant, hopefully. And this is the set list. And so you can actually get paid because you inputted where you did the public performance, and that's how you get paid, through your public performance organization. But anyway, so a restaurant is required to get licenses with all of the PROs, right? And that's what covers the live performance because it all has to do with the composition, the bass song. So we're talking again about Taylor Swift, one of her songs. So Blank Space has an example. The melody, the chords, her composition, not the recording, is carrying into your cover, right? And so what is covered by the performance rights organizations is the composition. So all you need to know is you're good to go because live venues are the ones that are supposed to get the proper license for the performance of these songs, of these covers in their venue. If you are someone that is needing help in the music business, at the end of this video, you can check out topmusicattorney.com. I have courses, I have free stuff just to kind of get you started. If you do want to deep dive, if you do want to train with me, I always say go through my music business program, which is how to think like a record label, become a record label. And then if you do want to get into touch with me or one of my lawyers, we got you covered. 11. What happens if live performances are recorded or streamed? Again, a really, really good question. So if the live performances are being recorded and streamed, my question to you as your future attorney is who is recording it? Who is streaming it? So if it's like one of your glorious fans, all right, in the audience, just loving you every second of the performance, if they're recording, if they're streaming, well, technically you have to get a synchronization license for the cover song. All right. So you got to keep this in mind for yourself. If you are the one through your own phone, your own whatever, if you are streaming this, because you are required to get a sync license. Now, is Universal going to come after you or one of your fans for streaming the performance? A small fish, probably not. But are you required for the video component? Yes. And for the deep dive, that again is in the last video. But what I did is I broke it up. I'm like, guys, you have to remember for cover songs, there's two aspects to it. In one side, there's the audio aspect, which is kind of like a good to go for streaming. The music platforms get the license so you can do it, put it on music platforms, good to go, right? On the other side of this is the video piece. And I go, guys, just so you know, it's not covered by copyright law. And so what I explain is that for the video component, what we do know is that major labels have gone and done direct deals with the YouTubes and the Instagrams and the TikToks to make sure that they collect all the monetization, right, for your covers so that now they're not really filing strikes on your videos anymore. But technically, pursuant to copyright law, you have to go and get a sync license. Okay, so we deep dive more in the other video, but that's the quick summary of it. So the answer is, well, what if someone else, your fans in the audience live streaming? Well, technically, they're supposed to get a sync license to do that. But again, what I care about is, are you doing that? All right, number 12. Medleys and mashups performed live, are these illegal? So a medley, a mashup. So one example would be taking, let's say, two cover songs and you put them together. Again, we've had clients do this. They sound great. They're super cool. And so are they still a cover? If we go back to our little analysis, is it the same structure, same lyrics, same melody? Well, technically is two separate songs, but technically no, because now it's one song. And as one song, there's a whole other thing that's happening that is not connected to the prior song in the mashup. So for all those reasons, you definitely don't want to do that. You want to be careful. And if you do want to properly do it, you get it cleared. You guys contact our law office all the time for this because you do have, let's say, multiple songs interpolated into your song. And now you need us to contact the major record labels for you to get it cleared. Great. We'll do that for you. But, takes time, takes money. As a standalone, does the Copyright Act cover you for your mashups? No. Before we get to number 13, we have a quick question. Can I use one of my original songs previously released and have a singer cover a famous song on top of it. No structure change. Okay, that's good. No structure change of the cover song. Will famous artists have rights on the other? So good for the structure. Can I use one of your original songs and have a singer cover a famous song on top of it? So it sounds like that would be a mashup, right? So we see, especially on TikTok, we'll see that happening where someone takes an instrumental from one song and then they mash it up with a vocal from a different song. Now, in your case, we're taking your original, let's say, instrumental, aka, or let's not even that, your original song, and then we're putting it with some other vocal. It sounds like there's a piece of that. It would not only be a mashup, but you do need to get clearance, and that's why I want to just emphasize this for you guys. Okay, it's that in the land of true cover songs, you have protections pursuant to the law, right? Great. But then when you get away from it, and now we're talking about what are these nuanced changes where now it's like, no, 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 you're sampling. No, 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 it's a mashup or an interpolation, and you're going to, potentially get into trouble and be exposed to liability, statutory damages. It's no good. All right, let's do one more real quick and then I'll get to my number 13. I make cover songs of other artist songs, same arrangement in lyrics. Okay, the artist got mad. Oh no. And told his fans to report my page. Can he actually do anything here? I'll tell you what, I went to war recently with a record label because the record label owner didn't know what the hell was going on. And he saw that our client had released a cover song of a song signed to his label belonging to a different artist. And he filed, it's called a DMCA takedown notice. Okay, so basically it's like a copyright claim that you can file on music platforms, on social media platforms. So this record label owner had filed this and said, you're not allowed to do a cover song without getting a license. And here's the thing, that wasn't the case. That's not true. You don't have to go and get a license directly from, let's say, the record label to do a cover song. And so our client had to hire us to go and explain copyright law to this person. And this person ended up hiring their attorney, which is a good thing because then we have, someone else that's not us telling the client about the issues. But, you had to hire attorneys and go through the fight and all the good stuff. And now the song is up. But look, the reason why the record label owner was upset is because our client's cover version did better than the original. So anyway, I'm so sorry you're going through that. If you need some help, contact Delgado Entertainment Law and we would be happy to see how we can assist you. What about the lyrics? I love to change the lyrics. Okay, so we might get for one of the upcoming questions on this. So I'm going to move on to 13, but I will tell you again, keep in mind the lyrics are so important. We're talking about the structure of the song, we're talking about the melodies, we're talking about the lyrics. Specifically, when it comes to, they're called de minimis changes, so really nominal changes like pronouns. Okay, in my opinion, you're going to be okay. I do this with my own music and I'm like, instead of he, I say she. Well, I guess instead of she, I usually say he. But you know what I'm saying? Number 13. Are mashups considered covers? The answer is no. Number 14. What's the difference between a remix and a cover? A remix typically, has sampling in it. Typically, you're taking some portion. Like I just did a remix challenge for producers on my channel, and this was for one of my songs, Say to Me. We provided the vocals. And so the production that each producer did around it, right, was their original creation, but there was sampling of my vocal that was given. That's usually one of the clearest indicators. So no, remixing usually has sampling in it. It's not going to be a cover. 15. How do parodies work legally? Oh, all right. I don't want to get so unbelievably sidetracked, but let me walk you through this. A parody, you know what? I think I wrote it on my board. Let me show you. On the whiteboard, it says, there's 4 factors to fair use. 1 is the purpose, 2 is the nature, 3 is the amount used, and 4 is the effect on the market. This is a fancy way of basically just saying if fair use applies to using someone's copyrighted song. So for example, even in literally sampling, you actually can legally do the illegal thing. So in a different universe, which is not cover songs, a parody would be that you take someone's song, like Weird Al, right? He made a whole career of doing this. That you take someone's song and you actually redo the lyrics. It's your own version. It's like a cover, but you're completely changing the lyrics to now make it funny or witty. Okay, so now it's a parody, and the analysis goes under for fair use. I don't want to derail the video too much, but there are 4 factors for fair use. We do a little determination, and there are certain categories that fall into fair use, which is typically parody. Okay, so if you are doing a cover and it's a parody, then we can mush together to potentially make it happen for you. All right, moving on. If you're excited and having a great time, please make sure to give this video a big thumbs up. Number 16, do karaoke or instrumental covers on YouTube require licenses? Really good question. Generally, yes. Even karaoke or instrumental versions do require licenses, and often they do require like sync licenses. So, meaning to synchronize a certain audio to a visual because it's like karaoke, right? 17. Why are some covers flagged while others aren't? This is such a good question. Ugh. So remember, I was like, all right, there's 2 categories. There's the audio version. You're covered for streaming. There's a little nuance there. If you're, selling CDs and vinyls and digital downloads, you do have to get a mechanical license for that. And you can do that through Harry Fox Agency or Easy Song Licensing. Okay. But generally for streaming, you're okay. For the video portion, which is not technically allowable under the Copyright Act, we go, okay, what do I do? And so that's why I was sharing. Well, these deals have been put into place by the major labels. And so generally speaking, people are not getting copyright strikes on their YouTube videos, right? For their cover songs. But the labels will monetize your videos, meaning you're not going to make any money. So that's kind of what's happening practically. So the question was, well, why do some covers get flagged while others don't? It doesn't mean you're not going to get a copyright claim. It doesn't mean that you're not going to get a copyright strike. It's just not as common anymore because labels found that it would just be smarter to not only allow the free promotion of their original songs that they own, right? Let's be fair for 2 seconds, but that they're like, we can just go and make money from the hundreds of thousands, probably millions of cover songs that are on YouTube. Okay, so that's what they're doing now. It's not necessarily the best system, but here we are. Number 18, does using a static image instead of a video avoid having to get this sync license, right? And the answer is no. Sync licensing is still required for any video. This goes beyond just YouTube, guys. If you're making a reel for Instagram, you're posting a video on TikTok, there is a visual component. And so that's where we get into sync licensing. And this can get really tricky, but that's why I want to just assure you that what artists and creators are doing is generally permissible because of these existing licenses for the video components on TikTok, on Meta platforms. Number 19, how do I legally publish melodies, mashups, or rearrange covers? Well, that's 3 questions in one. I just did like 9 depositions in a row, and that's not permissible, but I'm going to allow it. So what you want to do is just get permission, right? Or obtain whatever applicable licenses needed if you are mishing and mashing and rearranging, restructuring, as we should more properly say, then it probably is not a cover song anymore, and you do need to get a license directly from the owner of the song. All right, number 20. What if the audience recording my live cover posts it online? It kind of goes to the one that we talked about earlier. If there is any potential exposure or liability that is not on you if someone else recorded you. And in fact, P.S., there's publicity concerns that come with that if people are recording you and posting about you online and stuff like that. That's a whole different thing. 21, can I protect my karaoke cover videos? Copyright law protects your original composition, and so if you are doing a karaoke video without a license, it's going to be hard for you to make an argument for elements that you don't actually own. Does that make sense? 22, how does streaming services determine if a cover matches the original arrangement? Can I tell you how often my lawyers and I are fighting Apple and Spotify because they'll come back and they'll be like, literally, like the last one that we were dealing with, one of the platforms had said, your cover song sounds too much like the original. Everything was original in the cover, okay, for our client. But the performance by the vocalist, they thought, sounded very much like the original song. So they go, and we're like, this is literally a cover song. It is completely permissible pursuant to copyright law. And they came back and they're like, regardless, we say no. This is why having a lawyer on your side can be helpful, especially when different music platforms are being ridiculous. From time to time, there can be manual review by a real human, not necessarily an attorney, and then we got to deal with whatever determination they come to. 23. Are there differences in licensing requirements for live covers versus recorded covers? Yes, there can be. So live performances will, again, it falls under if you are in a live venue, that venue is supposed to have a license with the different performance rights organizations. So they get paid for the performance of the song. They then pay the rights owners, okay, of the original songs. So it would be different than how it kind of operates as far as the mechanical licenses and the streaming portion. If you guys are having fun, please drop a comment down below and say, having fun. I can't wait to see how many people actually drop that, because it means you lasted this far, okay? You're like OG. For whoever says having fun in the comments, you're a real rock star. Good for you. 24. How can I find out who owns the copyright to a song? Great question. It's very easy, right? So again, this is specific. We're here in the United States. And if you're in a different country, you just need to find out what is the PRO, or plural if there's multiple performance rights organization for your country. But here in the United States, we have BMI, ASCAP, and CSAC. And so you just have to go to all three platforms. And what I do is I'll just pop on over to Google and I'll say, I'm doing a BMI repertoire search. Use that word, repertoire. So you go BMI, and I'm sure it would come up if you did like catalog search, right? So you basically just search the databases, because the song you're looking for should be registered in one of those databases. And then when you find it, it says who owns it. It usually has contact information. Okay. So that's how you can find out who owns a song. If you do, for example, want to try to clear a sample, right? If you do want to do interpolation, I just gave you some lawyerly methods right there of literally what our office does. All right, couple more real quick. Moving on. 25. Does interpolation require a different license than a cover? The answer is, I think you guys already know this, yes. If you're interpolating, so again, think of it in you want to take a song, record labels do this all the time. They take a song that was a big hit, let's say in the 80s, and then they just come in and they repackage it, but not like a cover. They repackage it by updating it with new lyrics that are hip and about something totally different than what the original song was about. And they now interpolate it, but they keep the elements of what really made it a hit, right? It's the same melody, or there was something with the guitar. In any case, that's why interpolation is very, very popular. Sampling and interpolation, very, very popular, because for songs that have been proven to be hits already, they're like, let's just redo it. But it is different than a cover for sure. Okay, you got to get a license. 26. What happens if I upload a cover without a proper license? Possibly nothing. Let me put it this way. The question, really, the way I just read that to myself, I'm blinded by all the lights, is what happens if I upload a sample? What if I upload an interpolation without getting a proper license? Like, we'll see. Like, really bad things could happen. We'll talk about that, but nothing could happen as well. And this is why I do want to kind of warn you guys a little bit about this, and why I want you to understand these distinctions, because I do have, clients where I give them the speech. You could be found liable for copyright infringement. Under the Copyright Act, there are statutory damages, which means there are amounts of money that a court could award to someone else because you sampled and you did your fun little mashup, and now they're suing you because you blew up, because your song went viral. And they can seek these statutory damages, which can be in the upwards of $150,000. So it's a really big deal. And so, especially for like DJs and producers out there who know that this is trendy to do these mashups, and they just do it anyway. Experiential wisdom would say, I've been doing it for a long time. I might not ever get caught. And so if that's you, just understand that there are risks with that. Now, going back to the original question, which was, what happens if I upload a cover without a proper license? You're fine if it's being streamed. Right, that goes back to what I said. The music platforms are the ones who have to get this mechanical license, not you. But I do want you to be aware of this caveat. That doesn't apply to your digital downloads. That doesn't apply to your CDs or your vinyls. You have to go and get your mechanical license for those things. Moving on, and then I'm going to take a couple questions from the actual live stream. 27, can I perform an interpolated version of a song live without permission? And the answer is no. 28, how does sampling differ from interpolation. Again, sampling, you're taking something from the actual recording, right? So a beat, a vocal, versus interpolation, where you are reinterpreting the song, right? So it might be like rewriting the lyrics, redoing the melodies, right? Restructuring the song. Two more, and then we're going to take some questions from the live chat. 29, can I sell a parody song legally? So again, don't make me get the whiteboard, okay? It's a little cumbersome, I'm finding. I need a board that's like this big. The answer is yes, potentially. If your parody qualifies for fair use under the Copyright Act, which is a defense, then potentially yes. But this is why like people literally hire me to do analyses for things. Like I have filmmakers who are like, hey, I'm trying to get insurance. We did like a documentary. And so we have something that may qualify under fair use. There's educational stuff, there's parody, there's news, there's commentary and criticism. A lot of these things fall under fair use. So they're like, hey, like we need to get, an opinion so we can get the old insurance. So yes, if it's a parody, if you qualify as parody under fair use, you should be okay. 30. What happens if I make significant changes to a cover song? All right, so I don't know what significant changes mean, so let's speculate. If you make significant changes to the structure, something I've seen a lot of people do is that they'll keep the song generally, right? It's like it is pretty much a cover song, but then they go in and they change one verse or they change the chorus, and it might just be lyrics. It might just be one element, but a really big element of the song. At that point, it's now an interpolation, more than likely. So, my question is always going to be, how much did you change? How significant was it? Because going back to like the essence of the song barometer, all right, have you maintained the essence of the song, or are we in a totally different land? All right, so with that being said, let me answer a couple questions, and then we'll knock out the last couple of these hot topic questions on my list. Question, can I release a cover of a famous song and then release the instrumental of the song of the cover that is different from the original? Should it be titled Famous Song Instrumental? Or, it's funny, I actually don't know the reason why. I should ask my distributor contacts. Early, when I was doing cover songs, I used to upload the cover song and then I wanted to put the original, like I did a Korn cover, Make Me Bad, right? So one of my favorite covers that I've done. So I did Make Me Bad and I wanted to put Korn in parentheses and the distributor wouldn't let me. We had to retitle it, and I've had clients run into that issue as well. And I'm guessing it's because that's not actually the title of the song. Korn's song is not Make Me Bad. Korn is just Make Me Bad. So I'm guessing that's why. To answer your question, if you do a cover and then you want to release the instrumental of the cover, is the instrumental itself still a cover? I had a conversation with an entertainment attorney who's been lawyering many more decades than me. And this question came up. He confirmed my understanding, which is it still will be interpreted as a cover song, but it can be argued that it's not a cover song anymore because you took away a significant element of the song, which are the lyrics. We both said, it's up for discussion, right? It can be argued both ways. But, if you are in fact keeping the instrumental the same, the chords are the same, the structure is the same, I would argue more so that it is still a cover. All right, another question. Here is a related question. What about a YouTube guitar teacher teaching how to play a famous song? Does that fall under fair use because it's educational? I would argue it sure does. On, this channel, for example, later in this live stream, I'm going to be reacting to someone else's mashup that they did and just helping you guys to kind of understand the fair use piece and going into the analysis a little bit more. So for me, right, under the fair use factors, right, and then also the different categories that we typically fall into, educational purposes is permissible. So I would say for what you're doing, it would be okay. What if we only change the guitar solo? This is why it's fun lawyering, because the common answer is just always, it depends. And then I would just say, well, how much did you change it? How much did you extend it in time? How much did you cut it down? So it really does depend. And what I can say also is that I would probably lean more so towards no, because even solos, they're kind of like hooks of the song. They are a material significant part of the song. So again, it's how much did you change it? All right, back to our list here. Where did we leave off? I think we left off 32. All right, if you're ready for the last 4 here, get your gavels because we're going to have our gavel moment any second. I know you already subscribed because you are so excited for these deep dives and becoming an expert on all things music business. Let's go, let's go. What if I record a cover and only share it privately. Who are you sharing your cover songs with? Sharing cover songs, privately without distribution, and it was only shared with like a couple of people here and there, it's still going to have similar kind of implications and analyses of, is there any difference? So let's go through the process. You go, I did a cover song, I looked at your cover song, it in fact qualifies as a cover song. And you go, well, I didn't put it out on music platforms, I just kind of like sent it to mom. So a part of my question is, I'm like, all right, so what are you concerned about? Are you concerned that Universal is going to like hack your email and find out that you emailed mom? You see what I'm saying? But if it really is truly a cover song, then we go, well, did you put it on music platforms? It sounds like you didn't, right? You're only sharing it privately. So you do want to be careful, because if you're sending it to mom and mom is downloading it, well, technically, and I'm going granular here, okay? But technically, there are digital downloads of your song happening. Okay, and let's take it a step further. You're like, well, I just put it on my website. It was a VIP special private thing. And on the website, only like 20 people downloaded it. It was a private thing. Pursuant to the law, you do need to get a mechanical license. Now, I don't want you to be scared of getting a mechanical license. You know what I'm saying? Truly, I use Easy Song licensing, and it's usually, it's very inexpensive. It's a very fast process. Okay. So, anyway, I don't know what the term privately means, but that would be my interpretation of that. Can I use a backing track from YouTube for my cover? So if you're using a backing track, I'm going to assume that you are using something that was uploaded by someone else. Okay, so if it's someone else's song, then you're going to get into sampling land, and you want to be careful. Now, here's the thing, there's workarounds, guys. Reach out to someone, send a quick DM on Instagram. You never know how easy it potentially is going to be to clear something, especially in sample land. And sometimes it's difficult. Trust me. I tried to clear a sample for a song that was on one of my, I think it was my Inevitable EP. And so I tried clearing a sample. It was literally like one teeny tiny little drop thing. We just literally couldn't get in touch with the person in order to do this. And so we took it out, and that's that. But sometimes you can get in touch with people through social media. And so just do a little research, okay? If you do actually need help, you can get into touch with a professional. Like I said, we do it all the time, but just getting some help if it's that important to you. Are nonprofit or charity cover performances exempt from licensing? Okay, there's a couple things there. I have run a charity for a long time, and I'm like, okay, well, if we do a fundraiser, like we used to do scotch tasting all the time. It was like, it became our a monthly thing because one of our board members had the most amazing collection of scotch. I'm like, I don't drink at all, but I'm gonna do this for the children. So we would do this, but it wasn't in our houses. It was in an actual venue. So if you're in a restaurant, if you're in a club, again, all of the same rules are going to apply, which is if there is a cover song, if there is a performance of some kind, the venue is supposed to have the appropriate licensing. Okay. Again, it just, as always, it just depends. All right, here we go. Last but not least, 35. Can I record? And in fact, let me just say this. If you guys are looking for help, a great free way to kind of get started is on topmusicattorney.com. And I have the 35 ways to make money, which is a free PDF that you can download. I very much focus on music monetization, figuring out how to make money from your music ASAP. Sign up for that. I'll make sure to link it down for you as well. Can I record a cover of a song in another language? Again, this is up for debate a little bit, because if you're translating lyrics, you likely do need to get permission. I learned this because, we have clients who speak different languages, for whatever reason, they land with our office, or we're dealing with opposing counsel who only speaks some language that we don't, and we have to get interpreters. And what we have found is that the interpretation, or the translation, I should say, is so unbelievably important, because your lyrics can be translated wrong. So even unintentionally, you can translate lyrics into another language, and you translated them incorrectly, and so now the words actually are different, and so you've materially changed the song. Now, if you're telling me you have a certified translator and every word was perfectly translated, so it means the same thing in the different language, you have an argument that you might still be okay, so long as the melodies are the same, the structure is the same, the lyrics really are the same. Okay, we'll come in and have the argument. It, in fact, is a cover song. If you enjoyed this, give this video a big thumbs up. I'll see you on the next one.